You know, the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FAAC, has suspended the Paris Club Refund, but has, after an agreement between the federal and state government, shared a total of 965 billion naira for September among the three levels of government. The federal government got 301.3 billion naira, the states got 220.27 billion, and the local governments shared 164.176 naira. Now, 54.206 billion was shared amongst the relevant states as 13% derivation revenue. It needs to be stated that a meeting of the FAAC ended in a deadlock last Friday when it was revealed that deductions for the $418 million for local government's account, from local government's accounts, had commenced in order to pay consultants for the job they did on the Paris Club Refund. Many Nigerians condemned such a hasty decision, including Babajide and Mayor Akikbelu, when the matter came up for discussion on the program on Tuesday, just gone. That's October 26th. We'll go back to that discussion and take excerpts. So watch on.
For you, how justifiable is this humongous payment?
Well, it's not even the size of the money that is the issue. You have to follow the due process. Remember that we even, last month, the president ordered that the money the payment should be stopped. After we came on this program to say, look, there's a case in court. The judgment debt that this payment seeks to execute, there is a case in court about it. Why the indecent haste? Why wouldn't you allow the wheel of justice to run its course? Why are we bent on quickly going to pay when there is a case in court? That's what bothers me the most, not the fact that, oh, it's such a huge sum of money. Consultants interface with federal government on behalf of states. So there is something fishy about the transaction, and it has necessitated the court action. Let us do a forensic audit. Let's determine whether they indeed deserved to be paid.
That is where I stand. One, the case is in court, so we must allow the case to run its course. That's one. Two, there must be forensic audit because it shows the kind of negligence that we have within the polity. Because each state have the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice. Each state has they have Commissioner for Finance.
Indeed.
And a ministry to that effect. Within those two offices, they should be able to do anything they want to achieve without resorting to consultants. That's one. Two, how did they arrive at such a humongous amount of $480 million for consultancy fee? Because when you even look at the amount that occupies within the money they are trying to give back, it doesn't make any sense.
The president stopped this payment. At what point did he change his mind? They felt Nigerians did not need to know. This is even unconstitutional, because what that portion of the Constitution says is revenue accruing to the federating units shall be distributed. Who convinced the president against his earlier directive?
Thank you.
Who did that?
They didn't inform us. What I'm saying is that there is a dispute over the payment between the states and the federal government. And the states have gone to court. It's important for all the parties involved to go to court.
It's
to go and
even contempt
it.
of court.
Absolutely.
Let's put it the way it is.
Yes.
It's contempt of court.
Yes.
To not wait for the matter to be resolved before you started deducting.
Yeah. So we are familiar with the story now, Emeka. And as asked in the clip we saw, why the haste? And for that matter, who arrived at $418 million as money you pay consultants?
Yeah, well, let's take what one of the consultants, a former Senator Ned Nwoko, said. He said that this is money they rightly earned, the consultants rightly earned, that they use expertise. They even borrowed money because the states and local governments were not convinced that anything will come out of the effort. So they borrowed money and pursued the refund so that they should get their fees rightly.
Were they appointed?
Yes, of course, they said they were appointed by, of course, the governors knew about it. Now, one of the cases, because he said the governors are trying to mix issues, that there is no suit, there is no case, there is no judgment saying they should not be paid. So I guess maybe he's talking about the case instituted by 2 consultants against a Southeast state, saying that they promised them 20% of the money coming to them. That's Enugu State. Yeah. 20% coming, of the money coming to them. And I wonder why a state would agree to pay 20% of money coming to them. I mean, so you have, an armada of civil servants, well trained. They go on training every year. They get leave allowance, training allowance, and all kinds of allowances. And then why do you need to still pay such huge amounts to consultants? If you remember, at the tail end of, during the Abacha Abdul Salami era, this thing caused a serious problem, so that by the time, it dovetailed into the civilian administration, the Fourth Republic, there was this clamor that no, the revenue agencies of each state should be made empowered to collect taxes, collect levies, and render services. The ministries of finance and all of that should be able to do this. But when you farm out this, that's why I also have issue with all these debts. We just taking up and down. Nobody is telling Nigerians how much of these debts is being paid to consultants, to lawyers. Nobody is telling Nigerians. All we just see, okay, Nigeria to borrow so and so billions. Nobody is giving us the component going to consultants, going to lawyers. And this thing, all this money, all these debts are going to be paid by Nigerians. So basically, even Nwoko was saying the governors are talking of forensic audit, that they should carry out the forensic audit among themselves. They should look back to when the Nigerian Governors Forum was headed by the former governor of Zamfara State, Abdulaziz Yari. Because they have been accused of having done some things that are not, that didn't go the proper way. So all of these things is mired in confusion. These things have to be sorted out before any money is deducted. And I think it's time. It's something the National Assembly should look into. This issue of consultants
I think also
is draining the economy.
The number one citizen should be guided here.
Yeah, well, it appears some people have certain interests that are different from the national interest in pushing this matter. Because Nigerians are suffering. The economy is really shaking. Nigerians are hungry. And consultants are making such huge money. I don't understand.
BC, I know you are not giving to these figures and so on.
Actually,
but mine is the politics of all of this. I see politics running like a thread running through everything here.
I also think the problem has to do with our own definition of federalism. I think that is the foundational problem. Now, because even this so-called Paris Club Refund that we are talking about.
It is not so-called. It's
no, it is so-called. Well. Is why I say so-called is this: how many states were even took that loan in the first instance? Not all of them. So even the benefits, how many states actually benefited from it? Because it's also part of their complaint that okay, we didn't even take this loan, so why should we pay consultants for loans that we did not take? Which makes sense. So why should I pay, even if you hire, let's even assume that you hire these consultants and that you have promised to pay them, but then I did not benefit anything. Why should you deduct my money to pay a consultant for something I didn't benefit from? And that is why I said it's a problem of our own kind of federalism.
And for that matter, our own type of politics.
Now, okay, for example, we have an accountant general of the Federation. This is the accountant general that speaks for the federal government and also takes decision on behalf of every other state in Nigeria. Should that be the case? No, because the accountant general of the Federation cannot be making case for a federal government, because the federal government, the state government, the local government, all of them, they are all involved. They are equal partners in this project. So no one should be more senior than another.
Yes.
So I think, like the Ondo State Commissioner for Finance is saying, that the federal government should have its own accountant general, while we have an accountant general for the Federation. And unbiased accountant general that will work for the good of everyone. If that is the case, I assume that we may not even fall into this problem of having to hire consultants, because how many states even are aware of the consultants that are hired? How many of them are involved?
By the Nigerian Governors Forum.
Exactly. So you cannot be doing something on my behalf when I have to pay for it. So I think we need to take care of that aspect of
right. MX is joining us from Edo State. MX, good evening to you. Welcome.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Yeah, we greet you.
Yes, I want to speak on this Paris Club Refund. Yes, you see, I think the level with which impunity raised in this country is something that should not be encouraged. Now, the role of the Attorney General of the Federation in this whole matter is something that is very, very uncalled for. Because if the Federal Ministry of Finance does not get advisory from him, certainly they will not contemplate doing what they are doing right now. Besides that, in the case of Ojukwu and Ministry Governor of Lagos State, it was heard that once a matter is in court, parties are enjoined not to do anything that will foil that accomplished on the court. Now this matter is in court. Ordinarily, what that is that they should have waited for the matter to be dealt with and determined in court before they will unilaterally, on their own, they want to make these deductions against the states and the local government. That's not we stand against that. The other point is this: we have to be very, very wary about the activities of certain government officials in this country. Now, this same Attorney General, when Nnamdi Kanu's matter was in court sometime last week, he also came on air in the form of press conference to start dealing with matters that are purely within the confines of the court. This is not done. He's a lawyer. I should be able to advise the federal government appropriately.
MX, don't bring another matter into this thing, but we thank you for all the same for your informed contribution. Emeka, is still politics, and it would be impolitic of us not to point out the shady politics that's going on. Sometimes you wonder if politicians, look at decisions before they are taken, and if it is these decisions are in the public interest.
Yeah, people have asked a question: what really is the role of the Nigerian Governors Forum? Because Nigerians, in every state, they go to elect their governors. And then at the end of the day, the governors belong to different organizations. Nigerian Governors Forum, Progressive Governors Forum, PDP Governors Forum,
Southeast Governors
all kinds of forums that take decisions that were not reached with, after consultation with the constituents. So these things, now become as if, we elected the governor on the basis of, his platform. And then now the governor has chosen, to tie us to decisions taken by all kinds of amorphous platforms. So for this particular matter, I think the Nigerian Governors Forum must put an end to this kind of, to this ridiculous
shenanigans.
This shenanigans, because you cannot be negotiating with consultants and people. each state house of assembly, I believe each governor, and then the governors too, I agree that, let me concede to them that some of them were not in office when some of these decisions were taken. But they should forward these things to their state houses of assembly to debate them, so that, and if possible, there should be public hearings, so that they can get the best advice and know how to proceed.
All right, Ebeka, thank you. We'll bury it there.